It's Villains Month here on Dave Knows Wrestling, and it's an interesting time to be a heel in the WWE. Heel Kevin Owens getting cheered over Goldberg at Fastlane. Heel Rusev getting cheered over face Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. Heel Seth Rollins getting cheered over face John Cena at SummerSlam. Somewhere along the way, the line between good and bad has gotten blurred, and the whole heel-face dynamic has been turned on its ear as a result. And I want to talk about why. And I also want to highlight just a few heels that made sure that being bad still works in an old school kind of way. Because today, Dave knows what happened to old school heels. December 15th, 1997, the segment The Cure for the Common Show, or what has now become known as the introduction to the Attitude Era. And this also serves as the closest thing we have to a definitive moment when we knew that faces and heels would be changed forever. In this segment, Vince McMahon said that he's sure that audiences are probably tired of having their intelligence insulted and are looking for a more robust and complex form of entertainment in their wrestling. Oh man, take your own advice, Vince. And breaking kayfabe, Vince McMahon said gone would be the days of the traditional good guy versus bad guy routine. And in fact, during the Monday Night Wars of WWF versus WCW, I do think there was one place where old school heelery was still alive and well, and that was ECW. ECW was the last place where a heel could truly be a heel. Just think about it. Shane Douglas, Raven, the Dudley Boys, these were wrestlers that really knew how to be hated. And what's great about Philadelphia is just how vocal their wrestling community can be, a fact that ECW totally took advantage of. If you look at the heels in ECW, I think you'd be hard pressed to find anyone that could instigate that well, not just at that time, but possibly even ever. And the other interesting thing about this time was it seemed the public wanted the whole heel-face dynamic to change as well. Just look at WrestleMania earlier that year. Stone Cold Steve Austin playing a traditional heel ended up becoming a good guy, and Bret playing a traditional face ended up becoming a bad guy. And just a few months before that, Hulk Hogan, one of the biggest baby faces there ever was, ended up turning and becoming Hollywood Hogan, one of the biggest bad guys there ever was. So when you look at things that way, 20 years later, it does make a lot of sense that things have evolved to the state that they're in. Being a heel isn't synonymous with booing, and being a face isn't synonymous with cheers. But the old system definitely yielded some advantages. Back in the day, there was no reason for a brand split because the roster was already split in two. Definitive good guys, definitive bad guys. And for the most part, good guys didn't fight good guys, and bad guys didn't fight bad guys. And as a result, there were plenty of wrestlers that stayed away from each other, and you didn't have to worry about their matches getting overexposed. Now, I'm not trying to say there aren't baby faces and heels anymore, because there are, but it's not the same as it used to be. But I did say all is not lost, because I do feel that there are still some back in the day baddies that have managed to exist even in modern times. Now, first obvious answer is Bray Wyatt. Now, I think Bray Wyatt's great, and he's definitely a heel, but he's not an old school hated heel, because you can tell from all the people who turn on their cell phones during his entrance that the crowd loves him, or else they wouldn't be supporting him. Well, what about Kevin Owens? Well, Kevin Owens did a heel turn to Chris Jericho. How could a heel possibly turn heel again? It wouldn't make any sense. So Kevin Owens, as great as he might be, he's not exactly the kind of heel I'm looking for. Alright, well what about Brock Lesnar? After WrestleMania 30, everyone hated him, and yes, that's true. But then again, he just kind of turned face out of nowhere. There was no storyline, no reason behind it. He just got in good with the crowd. So the Beast Incarnate doesn't really count either. Alright, enough about who doesn't count. Who does stand out as the old school baddies of the modern era? Well, the biggest example to me before he retired was JBL. As the JBL character, this guy consistently was booed and hated by the audience. He did a Nazi salute in Germany which made the crowd actually want to kill him. And everyone knew he got his push because of how good he was at finances. And he took the title off of fan favorite Eddie Guerrero, but was also there to facilitate the first ever championship reign of John Cena. He even said in the WWE's parody of A Few Good Men that he's the kind of heel that audiences need, even if they won't admit it. The kind of guy that talks back about the local sports team, the kind of guy that knows how to get under everyone's skin, and the kind of guy that has a title reign that makes everybody eager to see him lose it, especially if it's at WrestleMania and in order to put over the next big good guy. And he's not the only one. Since he retired, I think the best example of an old school heel is The Miz. Sure, he aggravates you and tons of people don't like him, but that's exactly the point. And I think he doesn't get nearly enough credit. Now, some people say old school heel tactics are easy and that anyone can do it, but if that's true, then how come not everyone does? If you ask me, there aren't enough wrestlers out there that are totally willing to be despised by everyone, from the fanboys to the smarks alike. It's really hard to make sure that the vast vast majority of a wrestling audience can't stand you, and they are a necessary evil. So the next time you boo a wrestler, I want you to think, are they doing this on purpose, and are they doing a good job of being bad? Let me know in the comments who you think are some great examples of old school heels in the modern era, and don't forget to like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and this has been Dave Knows.